Welcome to Our English. I am Priscilla here in the United States, and I have a super, super special guest from Nairobi, Kenya. Can you
Yay.
introduce yourself?
My name is Onyango Otieno. I am a writer, I'm a poet, I'm a mental health advocate, and I am a podcaster and a trauma healing counselor.
Amen. Super welcome to you, and we will put all of your links in the description box below. So, Eric, that's how I was introduced to you.
Yes.
Tell me what motivated you to go on this journey.
Well, I'm a storyteller, and I grew up in an abusive home where my parents fought a lot. And as a child, one of the things I noticed was that my parents were struggling with communicating with each other. So I took it up upon myself to want to learn to be a good communicator, because I thought, if this is the problem that's making me have a hard time with my parents at home, then I don't want to face the same problems when I become an adult in the world, right? And so alongside witnessing so much violence and my father being abusive on me, I later experienced a lot of mental health struggles like depression, post-traumatic stress, and anxiety. I also happened to be raped when I was 20 years old by our housekeeper.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry
Um,
to hear this.
yeah. So I had, what psychiatrists might call complex PTSD. And so through learning about mental health and realizing so many people around me were going through these issues, but they were not airing them out, maybe because they didn't have a language or the fear of stigmatization. I just wanted to, get these stories out. So I started by telling my story. And so many people got inspired, got motivated to even get courage to talk about their own situations to their loved ones. And now, through the trauma healing circles that I operate, I run a safe space for men who have been sexually abused as well, African men. And so, I sort of support them to reintegrate and reconnect with their bodies after going through that traumatic experience that society does not give them space to open up about. So yeah, my motivations are also multi-layered, but it's all ingrained in storytelling.
Well, words are not big enough to commend you for your work and your bravery and your quest to seek great communication skills. And I mean, I just applaud you for putting yourself out there and showing others that they are not alone. And now they have you where they can
Mhm,
come to that safe space. So
mhm,
sometimes we go through traumatic experiences to kind of take us to that next level, whether we are the messenger and we are there to help others, but you are also a survivor and you still smile so greatly.
mhm. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. So,
Thank you.
what inspires you every morning to wake up and share your message, write your stories, share your experiences?
Well, coming from Africa, I witness so many layers of struggles that have come from people experiencing different expressions of violence, and the manifestations of that coming out in so much anger,
Mm.
coming out in poor social structures, coming out in relationships that are not working, coming out in violence in like education, in marriages, everywhere. I see how our brains are stuck in that freeze mode for most of us, or fight mode or flight mode for some of us. And so for me, it's the knowledge that I have that wakes me up. And I'm like, I have to tell people that there is a way out. I have to tell people about what I know, what I'm discovering, that
Mm-hmm.
would help them improve who they are, would help them improve their relationships with other people, relationships they have with their own bodies. Because for me, the more we are aware about these issues, the more we can create safer communities and safer neighborhoods for children, the more we can even grow better, healthier leaders who will make better decisions for our people, the more even things like urban planning will be better and more inclusive. So for me, it's just people centered. My messaging is very people centered because I believe we can never achieve development if we are stuck in trauma. It's going to be hard.
Absolutely. And it takes a community. One person cannot do it alone.
Exactly.
We seek like minded people to help us share the message. And it's just so incredible how you and I cross paths. And to
Yeah.
hear your message, it's like, wow, sometimes things are taken for granted that we have the ability to speak, but it's how
Mhm.
we speak, how we convey our message. So I think you are doing an amazing job. And I loved the projects that you shared with me. Is there any one in particular that you want to talk about?
Well, it's the safe space I operate for boys and men who have been sexually abused. When I came out with my story in November 2019, there was, of course, like huge backlash. My tweet went viral. So many people like showed their support towards, the experience I shared. And so many men were also very bashful of that experience. They said nasty things. There was a lot of
Oh,
cyberbullying, things like, I must have enjoyed it. There's no way men can be raped, and things like that. And a lot of it was coming from, of course, the ignorance that is associated with masculinity and sex, being that ideally, like men are idealized as the initiators of sex, and they're also idealized as the perpetrators of sexual violence. Out of the fact that more than 95% of sexual gender-based violence perpetrators are men, it is almost impossible for society to think that this person who is presented to us as a perpetrator can be a victim or a survivor as well. So I could understand that struggle. But what touched me most were the men who got to my DMs, my messages, and they told me, you know what, man, I also went through this and I just can't talk about it. You're the first
mm,
man I've ever seen talk about this thing in public. Yeah, I went through it when I was 5 years old. I went through it when I was 10 years old. Even me, it was my aunt, it was my auntie, it was my uncle, it was our housekeeper, it was
oof.
people in the neighborhood we knew, it was people we trusted, you know
Right.
yeah, so that's what touched me most about it. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I was alone. There's so many of us, but we're dying in silence. So why can't I even just do more work in this field? And so I opened up that safe space. And I've been doing some crowdfunding to support these men to go through therapy. And we do have like circles of meetings where I support them with healthy coping skills and tools to help them reintegrate back to who they are, their sense of self, their sense of belonging, to even understand how they can start trusting again, because those things become very sensitive. So yeah, that's like, I'm very passionate about that. And I would love the world now, and even other men especially, to start rethinking our idea of gender, because in Kenya, or and a large part of the world, and in Africa, we live from very extreme binary lenses. So you're either a man or a woman. A
Mm,
man has his own script to live by, a woman has his own script to live by. If you're a man, the idealized nature you have to be is heterosexual. So if you're a gay man, a gay African man, then we treat you differently again. If you identify as lesbian or even gender non-conforming, it's almost like you're non-existent
mm,
here. So these are many conversations to have. And the piece of men being abused, sexually abused, is also just an underrepresented conversation that I'm bringing to the table of gender politics and gender conversations that also need dire attention, because even beyond normal sexual abuse, where maybe it's a woman who's doing it to a man or a man doing it to another, rape has been used as a tool of war in Africa here, and it's even rampant mostly in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in Libya, in Chad, in Central Africa. Like, so much is going on, but very little information about these stories. And so I want to keep highlighting these realities to the world, just so that even organizations that fund these gender programs can also start considering male-centered programs where men can also get taught about sex, about gender, about consent, about vulnerability, about mental health. And I'm actually currently writing a program that's going to be in workshop form where I'll be
Oh.
teaching men these things. And so that's how my life looks like now.
Well, it's so important what you're doing because, like you said, we know so little, they know so little, and now you are bringing this word to life. You're
Yeah,
actually reaching the people, connecting those who were affected, and teaching people how to interact with someone who has lost their trust, lost their faith. They don't know that they're not the only one. So I'm so happy to be that platform for you to share your message. Um, Anything you need, you let us know. Whenever you're doing your workshops, we can get as much support for you to get this message out, because not only do men need the support, women need that education too.
true.
So it's very important what you're doing. And I am so, so happy to have you here to share this and talk about this, because I can say I myself, we hear, but
Mhm.
to actually be in the presence of someone who has experienced such trauma and to be
Mhm.
able to walk out of it and be able to help someone else, that is priceless.
Yeah.
Right? That's so
Mhm.
wonderful to be able to share this with you. So, what is your message to our viewers?
The message would be, the world is in so much chaos right now, and everybody is out to naturally protect themselves from pain and hurt. And so some of us, as a result, act violently in the way to try to protect ourselves. And some of us get afraid to fly and get out there, get ourselves out there. There are different manifestations of that fear as a primary emotion. My my message would be, we have to be brave if this world is going to move anywhere. We have to be brave to question our perceptions of who people we think our enemies really are. We have to be brave to attempt to love one another. We have to be brave to open up safe spaces for people we particularly do not like, who need so much social support. We need to be brave to be more inclusive, because we are so many voices out here, all of whom are valid, but very few have the power and privilege to be heard, right? And even to be seen. We need to be brave to love ourselves, because all these manifestations of chaos only show that we don't know who we are. We are very disconnected from our truth. And that's where we have to go back in order to be grounded. The earth needs us to be grounded. So, bravery is my message.
Absolutely wonderful message. And to add to that, we need to be brave to go and seek the information. We need to be brave to open our mind to those taboo subjects,
Mm.
those topics that we're like, oh, But so that's a really great message. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to send you a complimentary copy of my
Oh,
book, Mindset to Self Love.
wow.
You can
Wow.
share it with the guys in the circle and
Well,
tell me
thank
what
you.
they think. It's totally customizable, personal, and they can do it over and over again.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's going to be such a important tool for us.
I'll send you two. One is
Thank
the
you.
mindset for self-love and the other one is a surprise.
Thank you. Yeah, trust Priscilla. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Say
Yeah,
peace and love.
I appreciate it. Thank you for hosting me. Keep doing what you're doing. This is brilliant.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.